first time, let me get my words together. If it's your first time joining us, the Bloom is just a place that we can come together, talk about goals, the highs and the lows, and just be real and honest together as we walk hand in hand toward the things that matter most. So I'm Tori, and this is my friend.
Hi, I'm Kelly. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is a super fun part of our week. It's really gritty and honest.
I love it, especially today. I feel like we're going to get into some really nitty gritty topics because we're talking about how preparation helps us to take action and overcome adversity and obstacles. And so let's jump in. You ready, Kelly?
I'm ready. I cannot wait to talk about this. It's going to be really, really honest. Actually, Tori, I have something to show you. These are my 2022. Well, you have 2024,
Oh,
right?
it's your 2022.
The camera makes them look the same, but they're not the same. These are my 2022 power sheets that are completely blank. Like halfway through. That's like a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But I'm going to talk about what I did with them and like why. Yeah, I'm just excited to talk about them. I also have a few other half blank power sheets. So
I know. I have a couple in my past. I think I've gotten rid of all of them at this point. So,
I can't believe you get rid of your power sheets. I
well,
keep them.
I didn't get rid of my power sheets, but then when we moved, I
Mm,
was like, do I really need them?
mm,
So,
yeah. So if
yeah.
you're here, you can say hi in the chat. We can read your chat live. So if you have questions or comments or anything, feel free to drop anything in the chat. It pops up for me. Tori, I don't know if can you see the chat on your end?
Um, I think so. Sometimes I have an issue where it like freezes and then I can't see anything else, but
That's
we
fair.
would for sure love for you guys to talk about your goals and the things that you're facing and maybe some obstacles you've already run into because January isn't all rainbows and unicorns. I know I've already faced some obstacles in January. Have you, Kelly?
Yeah. January 3rd. Hi, Bobby. Hi. Sorry, I'm not wearing my glasses. Bobby. Um, I yes, I January 3rd, my grandpa passed away. We talked about that. So it's like I was like gung ho, rearing to go with my goals, and um, then I had to like literally like pause the first week of the year, which is when everybody hits the ground running. But it's one of those things that you're not going to not pause for. It wasn't
Right.
like I just was like, yeah, I'll just do my goals later. I just needed to spend time with my family. So I can't wait to talk about the power of preparation. I feel like we're taking it a different kind of unconventional direction today. So I'm really super
As we
excited.
do.
We always do, don't we, Tori?
Yes.
This is gonna be gritty. Okay,
Yeah.
let's dig in. Do you want to start?
All right.
Talk about
Sure.
adversity. What's been going on in your life?
Well, goodness. Here currently, I feel like the biggest adversity I'm facing when it comes to the goals that I set this year is I was really excited. I think we touched on this a little bit on TLT, but I was really excited to jump back into running and like I had this whole running plan set out and my leg is just not ready. And that's been really hard for me to come to terms with because I already had races planned. I had already purchased, my spots in those races and having to give myself permission to say like it's okay if this isn't a goal that I work on right now, or if I work on it a little slower than I imagined. So I've just kind of shifted the way that I'm doing that goal. I'm still honestly not sure what I'm going to do or how I'm going to do it because I still want to run. We've got our race that we're signed up for. And so I want to do it. I just have to figure out maybe I just need a little bit more time to strengthen and
Yeah,
stretch my leg. I don't know, but that's I would say the biggest hurdle that I'm facing right now when it comes to my goals. What about you?
yeah. First of all, hi Nicole. It's good to see you.
Hi.
Um, Nicole, I literally stalked your account the other day to make sure I was commenting back to the right person. I was like, pretty sure this is my friend Nicole. So my adversity that I'm facing is Tori, I think I'm just tired. I think I'm grieving. My grandpa and I were really close, and I don't feel super motivated. And I feel bad to even say that because I work for a goal setting company, but we get real and raw on this podcast. And so I think I just need to say that I don't feel super motivated to do anything. And I just feel tired. And actually one of my really good friends, I was telling her I feel tired. I feel like I can't focus. Like I'm like mentally not there. Even in our meeting the other day, I was like, they're talking, but my brain just feels foggy.
Mhm.
Um, And oh, good, you messaged back. I feel bad saying that because I feel like I should be on here like, "Let's go, girls," but just really truly, like, walking through grief has been a very, uh a very unique experience because it was the first person that I lost that was very, very close to me. Um, so when my friends I started this, but I didn't finish it. One of my friends who is a grief counselor told me that, um, grief grief has symptoms,
Mhm.
like a sickness or like a
Yeah.
disease. Like, you're actually experiencing a physiological response, like a symptom, and that, thank you so much, Nicole, that, like, those are the symptoms of grief, and so you kinda have to, like, realize that they're gonna be there for a while, and they're gonna have to work through them, and so because of that, I feel like I need to dial back on some of my goals, um, just until I can get, like, my mind there go my dogs barking again, until I can get my mind clear
Yeah.
like, A, like, what really matters to me. I mean, losing someone that you love reorients your whole worldview,
Mhm.
and then B, like, what's the best way forward for me? She said grief takes about 3 to 6 months to work through.
I tell
So
you, I feel like when I lost Caden, so for those of you who don't know, I had a son in between my 2 daughters. He had a congenital heart defect, and he passed away 5 days after he was born, and I don't even feel like I felt the full weight of grief and for months because your body isn't just like in that kind of survival mode. Okay, we've got things to do. And people are still checking on you and you still have, I don't know, just like the remnants of everything. And then it took me a full few months before I felt like I was deep in the grief and trying to work through that. And it was very interesting that you said about your friend who's a grief counselor, because I used to speak a lot on this topic. And that was something that I talked about a lot is that we, any kind of brain injury or brain hurt like
mhm,
grief or
mhm.
loss, um, it does. It gives us physical symptoms, and it's crazy because, if you break your leg or you have an illness, you wouldn't just be like, "All right, I'm gonna power through. I'm just gonna keep walking on it, or I'm just gonna keep running on it." No, you can't do that because it would lead to further injury. And it does the same thing with grief. If we just kind of plow through it and we don't address it, it leads to further mental and emotional injury. So I
Wow.
love that you're giving yourself permission to kind of back off on those things that you had set out to do. And I feel like grieving and really honoring his life should be a big goal of yours, which I know it is. So I'm
Wow,
glad that you're doing
Tori,
that for yourself.
I'm gonna write this down. Honoring his life could be a goal. That's, like, such a good yeah, that's so cool because, yeah, when I was thinking about his life, I talked a little bit about him. The legacy that he left behind was, um, like, really tangible. His funeral was a completely packed big church. He was a speaker, an evangelist, and so he met a lot of people. But here's something interesting. I wrote a post on my Instagram post. This is very interesting. I wrote a post on my Instagram post last year, and I said, "This is for my future self, so I never forget this." And I talked about a conversation that he had shared with me in the conversation. I told him, "I just don't know what the purpose of my life is. Like, why am I even here? I know that we're people of faith and we have a call in our life and all these things, but like, what am I doing with my day-to-day life?" And he told me that John was one of the most notorious prophets, but the Bible was very clear that he did no miracles. He had nothing to his name in terms of, like, something tangible here
Mhm.
on earth, and yet he had this amazing ministry, and so I was thinking about that when I was reading back over my post. I was like, "You know what? Oftentimes, Tori, we think that we have to do something incredible in order to be valuable or to be successful or to be seen as, like, good or to make it in the world, but that's just not right." Like,
No, it's not.
that's just not right. It's not what the Bible says. It's not, like, what we believe about in goal setting, just in a worldly kind of way. And so I was thinking about what you said about honoring his life and what you did when Caden passed away. Because what you did is you took that grief and you turned it into something that helped other people, and that is legacy. That's our kinda legacy that we talk about
Yeah.
here at Cultivate, not just, like, how you're gonna be remembered when you die, but what are you gonna leave behind on
Yeah.
this earth that lives longer than you? And the way that you do that is by investing in people. and the things that matter.
I don't know if it's a quote or a song, I can't remember, but I always clung to this of, "I don't care if people remember my name, I want them to remember the way I made them feel."
Yeah.
And
Oh,
that is, like, such a powerful way to live, and I feel like these things we're talking about are not your typical conventional goals that you might
mhm.
set, but they are, like, that should be a goal, and it's okay for that to be a goal that you write down and you work on is, "I wanna work on being the kind of person that makes people feel special," or
Yes.
I want to, or like helps people. I think
Yes.
those things are such worthy goals, but like you were saying, they don't feel like grandiose. They don't
Yeah.
feel like this magnificent thing. And so we write down all these other things that we think is going to make us feel successful or make us feel
Mhm.
accomplished. But that's the heart of what we do around here. Like let's cut the fluff and get
Mhm.
to what really really matters to us. And I
I love that.
feel like that is where preparation leads us is to really consider, like look inside and consider what is it that means something to me that is beyond. And I love what you said about how these kinds of
Sorry.
things like these things when you go through them they really make you turn around and
Yeah.
question the way that you live and the things that you're doing because it recenters you on what truly matters.
It totally does. And okay, so this gets us into our topic. Very, very perfect segue. When okay, in one of my accountability groups, this is kind of like woo woo, so please don't come for me. But one of my accountability groups, we use the term higher self. And I don't love that term because it's very out there for me to use that word. But the way that we use it, I wish I had a better word for it. So if anybody has any ideas, I really need a new vocabulary word for this. But the way that we use it, we talk about the intentions that we set when we're in a clear mind. So
Mm,
when I sit down with my power sheets and I do my prep work and I write about the things that matter to me, that's in essence my higher self because that's what I truly desire. That's what I really want. Aside from my bad habits, aside from the busy schedule, aside from the day to day that sort of takes my time away from me, what I wrote there is what my true self, my higher self really wants because I'm in a clear state of mind when I write it. But then as your day goes on or as things happen to you, your higher self gets put in the back seat for what's urgent. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, and so Emily Thomas and I had this conversation about Enneagrams because you and I are both I don't know what I am. I think I'm a 2. You are a 2, like
I'm not sure.
hardcore. But we're
Through
sitting
and through.
so we're sitting here talking about how what people feel is really important to us and how we make people feel. But
Mhm,
Emily's a 5 and she's like a super 5 and she loves knowledge. And so for her it's really important to share knowledge because it helps people make better decisions about their life. And so, what I find really interesting about that conversation with her is that the root of all of the personality types, of all of the Enneagrams, of all the higher selves, whatever it may be, is that core desire to use the gifts that God's given you in a way that helps other people in whatever way that is. Maybe it's you make them feel loved and seen. Maybe you give them knowledge. Maybe you whatever. But Tori, when we go off the rails, when we have grief or when we drop our New Year's resolutions or whatever, our higher self, that's like when our higher self gets pushed to the back table. And I love what you said about being able to take these grief times and look back at what you've written and kind of like reevaluate them.
mhm,
But I also want to add to that sometimes you just got to pick them back up. Like,
mhm.
I just stopped doing my attending list for a while. I didn't actually fill it out until Sunday. I just
Gosh,
dropped my
it's
power
such a,
sheet.
like it's such a fine line to walk of, like, y you have to keep going, you know?
Yeah.
You've got to keep going on the things that you said that matter, but you also have to allow yourself space. So it's like this fine line to walk of what am I capable of holding right now? You know, how much space do I have? And so, yeah, you do have to pick them back up. And I think it's you have to sit with yourself and say, well, how much of it can I pick back up right now? And how
Yeah.
much of it needs to wait until I have a little bit more of myself to give because I feel like early on, like right now, there's a lot of yourself that is spent, a lot of your energy and time is spent grieving and remembering and trying to develop, you know, what does this new life look like? And
Mhm.
so there may be a little less of us that's ready to pick back up all of our goals. But in a couple of months, there may be a little bit more space.
Yeah.
And so I think, I mean, that goes back to what we talk about all the time about like there's no magical day. There's no start and end point. There's no like January 1st is my only chance. You have to just get real with yourself, guys. And I know that's really hard. And I struggle with this sometimes, but I think yeah, you just got to get really real about what space do I have right now? What availability do I have to pick my goals up when I'm facing something difficult?
I love that so much. So we're talking about the power of preparation and how that affects all that. Tori, do you think that there are people that like will be reevaluating their goals at this time of the year who haven't experienced something grief related? Like what if
For
you're just
sure.
like what if you're just like, well, I just didn't do it. I wrote all these plans and then I just didn't do it. Like,
Yeah.
what about these people?
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of people like that. I think even me, like I'm like some of these things I wrote down, I'm just not doing yet. And I think there's a couple of reasons. I think one is the oops, I put too much on my plate at one time and I just wasn't
That's what I was
ready for
thinking.
it.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because here
And
I
I
am
think
in
the
this
other
grief
one
season. I'm
is
sorry, go ahead.
oh sorry, you go ahead.
You go first, and I'll circle back.
Okay. I think the other one, oh, I love that. Reevaluating constantly. Love that.
Cabin core
Uh,
living. I don't know your first name. I feel like I know you, but I don't know your first name. Can you tell me your first name? I can't see cabin core living on. That's all I can see. Your first name, but I would like to call you a name.
I know
Um,
the pictures are so tiny
I
too.
know. I
Um,
love reevaluating constantly. Yeah. So that
I
was your
agree.
first thing. People who
That's
are reevaluating if they put too much on their plate.
I think the second thing, and I might step on some toes here, but is it did I really put down what mattered? Like, I think sometimes, again, we write down those things that we think matter or we feel like will make us matter, but they don't actually really matter. One of our friends in our GSP group wrote down a goal that she said she had just kind of um, canceled basically because she was like, I thought it mattered and I thought it'd be really important to me. And then when I didn't do it after like a week, I was like, oh, I guess I don't really care about this. It was her hair. She was talking about how she put on her tending
Kristen,
list,
yeah,
Kristen,
yeah.
she wanted to do her hair every day. And then she was like, I actually really like the mom bun life. And I was like, yeah, girl, like it's okay. That might not be what really matters to you. And so you can evaluate, does this really need space on my tending list? And then take it off.
I loved when she wrote that. I
I
was
did
like,
too.
yes, because we do often prepare for our best selves. I write my whole prep work. I get it all written out. You know, it's like my higher self is going to do my hair every day. And then she's like, no, I feel like that was I don't know, I wish we could get her on here. Maybe we can get her on here eventually, but I feel like sometimes we make these goals and they're worthy goals, and they're like, "I wanna be present for my family, and when I get my hair done and I fix myself up, I feel better, and I feel like I show up better." But maybe showing up better doesn't look like doing your hair. Maybe that's a
Mm-hmm.
societal pressure that we've put on ourselves that you don't really realize until you go back and you look at the preparation that you made, and you can kind of identify the way that I wanna go about this goal isn't working for me.
Yeah.
But without that plan that you've written, when you're in your best state of thinking, I guess, you're just kind of lost, right? I feel like I've only
Yeah.
skipped power sheets 1 year and I felt lost. And I've seen other people who've said, I took a break last year, but my year didn't go very well. Sorry, my year didn't go very well. And
Yes.
now I'm back because I didn't have a plan. And
That is
it
the
is,
power of preparing.
yeah.
That I feel like when we hit these bumps in the road, that's what I love. I say this all the time about like my favorite part, but I think this might be like my favorite thing is
I'm going to
that
start writing down
I
everything that we say is
all
our
of our
favorites.
favorites. But I love that when I'm in a space where I'm able to think about what I truly want, when I clear out everything else, that once life gets really busy and I something goes wrong or I hit a bump in the road or things are going very badly, I can look back at the plan that I created myself and I can say, "Oh, I've already prepared for this." Like I already know what my action steps are going to be,
Mhm.
what my next step looks like, what success feels like, and so I don't have to come up with a new plan when I'm, frazzled. It's already there for me, so it makes it easier to keep working towards the things that matter.
Tori, I love what you just said just now. That was a truth bomb. I don't even know if you realize what you said,
I
but
don't.
also Bobby said higher self is positive, strong, godly thinking. I love that definition. Thank you so
Yes.
much. I feel like I just feel so inauthentic when I say higher self. It's not really,
100%.
I don't know. It's just like for me, whatever. If you want to use it, go for it. But I love godly thinking. It's so good.
It's
Tori,
your clear mind.
yeah, Tori,
Yeah.
you just said I don't have to come up with a new plan every time I want to move forward. I think I just came up with my own term. I'm going to call this micro planning.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay, it's exhausting to micro plan. When I'm like standing in my house, I'm like, what do I need to do now? Do I need to like wash the curtains? Do I need to do the baseboards? I'm a big deep cleaner, so
Do
y'all
I
know this
need
already.
to
But
wash the curtains or do the most people are like, "Do I need to put the laundry away or do I need to vacuum?" And you're like, "Do I need to wash the curtains or do I need to clean the
I'm like,
baseboards
am I
or do
gonna
I need to
steam
move the
clean?
fridge?"
I do pull my fridge out and clean
I
behind.
know. Wait, pause, time out. I have to tell you guys the story. We I love this about you. I love this about you. So we had a break. I don't remember what it was for, but or maybe it was just a day off. I don't know. And Kelly is like, "Well, I'm in the middle of taking apart my microwave and cleaning it." And we're like, "You're supposed to be resting." She said, "This is rest."
It's productive rest. I've talked about this. I rest with my hands. You know that quote Allie told me: if you work with your mind, rest with your hands. If you work with your hands, rest with your mind. It feels restful. I also used a day of PTO to clean my grout.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, same. Okay, Nicole, that's why we're friends. Okay. Yes, Tori, this is like micro planning though for me. It's very exhausting. If I'm like, okay, let's say I'm gonna try and like put myself into the situation of another person and be like, I need to put my laundry away, or I need to, I don't know, Tori, help me out. My thoughts are like, do I need to wash the curtains, take them down? Do I need to like clean my grout? Do I need to like wash my front door? I got a new tool to wash my walls.
Of course you did. I love that.
I really want to start a cleaning Instagram where I just clean for people and they can like watch me clean. Have you ever seen this?
Yes, I
That's
love
another passion
those.
project for another day. But anyway, um,
2025 power sheets.
yeah, that's not gonna be this year. So so it's like but it's like micro planning is really tiring where I'm like, okay, I've got the whole day off. Let me plan out all these things that I need to accomplish. It's so mentally un Oh, hey, Audrey, I haven't seen you in a really long time. I'm so glad
Hi,
you're
Audrey.
here. Nicole's also from Ireland. You guys, Ireland's like a medium big country, but you
Yeah.
guys should hook up. You better like power sheets
I
buddies.
know.
Um,
Get on the
so
train, right? There's a train.
yeah, that's a trade, I think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there. Okay, we got Ireland, Ireland. I love that. So, Tori, micro planning. It is so exhausting to be like, what am I going to do
Mhm.
next, or what am I going to do with my day, or to just not know what's going to happen in your day, and you're
Yeah.
constantly having to make mini plans all day
Yes.
long because your
Or
brain
you
is
like recreate the plan you already made. Like I do that sometimes where I'm like,
yeah
I literally have the plan right here. And then I am like, oh, but something went wrong. And now, oh my gosh, what do I do? And then I literally recreate
yeah.
the same plan that I've already created.
I know. I think that's one thing I really like about the weekly rhythms addition to Power Sheets
Yes.
because I can lay
Hmm.
out my week. And when I get off track, so for example, this week we had a short week, we are off on Monday. When I get off track, I can just look at that piece of paper and know this is what I'm supposed to be doing next. This is my next task list because otherwise, Tori, I'm on my Kindle for 4 hours. I read on my Kindle for 4 hours last like, which is not bad. That's fine. That's okay.
Um,
But but then I neglected
you
some
already
things that
know my confession.
I know. I didn't buy your what is it? I'm not even gonna say the title because you said it
I
wasn't super nice.
I'm obsessed, but that's a story for another day.
I think
Yeah,
okay.
what?
Nicole's our book club girl.
Yeah, I'll
She
have
would
to tell you about it, Nicole. But I've lost my train of thought now. Oh, I was gonna say, like, I operate off of a checklist for work, and I have found that on the days that things are just completely chaotic, if I need to be grounded and try to like
Mhm.
just get myself recentered, I go to that checklist and I'm like, okay, it's one little thing I can check off, and then I start to build that momentum and it snowballs. And that is the power of preparing because then I've already prepared. I know exactly what I need to do on Tuesday And so
Yeah.
if a Tuesday gets crazy, I can look at Tuesday and it'll just recenter me. And that is what Power Sheets does for us is
Yes, yes,
we created this plan. And now when we're like, oh no, we open up the Power Sheets and we look at it and we
yes.
say, oh, this is what I said I was going to do.
And the problem is when you have so many days in a row that you don't look back at the plan, and then you get off track, and then you feel like you can't open your power sheets again, and then they get put on the shelf for years and years and years, and then you just become this person who wakes up one day and is like, "Wow, I'm 37. Where'd my life go?" Or whatever it is. You feel like I think that's the thing that I wanna, like, kind of as we're wrapping up, kinda go back to this. You made a plan. We're mostly all power sheets users here, I think. Yeah, so you made a plan, a really good plan. You wrote out the prep work, you wrote what matters to you. It may not be the perfect plan. You might need to tweak it and adjust it like Kristen with her bun, that's a great tweak, but the plan is not like, all the preparation that you did, it doesn't mean anything if you don't go back to it when you get off
Mhm.
track, and you're going to get off track, it's going to happen. I think for me, Tori, like, one of the biggest things I've learned as a cultivator for many years is that we cannot thwart life. It's going to come. You're gonna have a death in the family, you're gonna get sick, you're going to have these we call them I don't call them disappointments, but you're gonna have these times in life where you get off track because that's what being a human being is. But prep work
Mhm.
and preparation and preparing your goals, it makes you feel like you're not off the rails, like you're not off
Yeah.
track. It gives you space to be human.
And
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like it makes you feel safe almost.
Yeah.
I think of preparing for your goals in the same way as you would like prepare for a hurricane. You've got
Yeah.
your hurricane preparation kit so that if things go awry, you have the tools that you need to continue to be okay. It
Yeah.
may not be like the best that you've ever been, but you have the
Yeah.
tools you need to get through it. And that is what preparing for our goals does. It's like packing up our preparedness kit. We've got our water bottles and our, canned food or whatever
Mhm.
it might be that we put in there, a flashlight. And
Yeah.
so then when the storm does hit or things get a little crazy, you can continue to be okay. And I think we've got to give ourselves permission there
Mhm.
that every day is not going to be our best day, but it
Oh,
can still
yeah.
be a 1% day. I did a little bit. I made forward progress.
I love that, a 1% day. I'm gonna write that down.
Oh, I was just reading about this
I read
and
this
how what go ahead.
I read this in Atomic Habits. Is that what it's from?
I don't know. I was reading it from a blogger,
Okay.
but she was talking about the idea of the 1% and how like I'm pretty sure it is from Atomic Habits. But how
That's okay.
we just need to be 1% better. Like we're not trying to do
Yeah.
the greatest thing ever every day, just a
Yeah.
little bit.
James Clear, I loved his analogy when he wrote that in his book. He said, if you take an airplane from JFK and you veer it off course 1%, it will not hit its destination in California. And he actually gave the cities, and I think it was California to JFK. But it was basically like if an airplane leaves, let's say San Diego, and you veer it off course 1% and it's supposed to be going to New York, it'll actually end up in like New Jersey or something. Like you're in a completely different state. Just a 1% change because that 1% over time, it veers you very
Mm.
far from where you were going. But I love the idea of putting that in our mind to have a 1% day. It's
Yeah,
such a
like
cool
it's okay.
I love mantras though. And I feel like mantras are how we self-talk. I love the
Mhm.
idea that you can have a whole day of 1%. Like I can do 1% better at breakfast. I can do 1% better on my walk a little faster. I can do 1% better at work and answer my slacks a little bit faster.
And 1% is like we can do that. We can do
Totally.
1%. That's totally attainable. But I have an honest question here for you.
Okay.
Do you ever feel like you don't give yourself credit for the 1%?
100%. Do you?
Oh yeah. I think that
It's never
we
enough.
like it's enough, like we don't feel enough. But like you said, that 1% over time, while it may feel very minute, makes a huge impact. It's like the butterfly effect or whatever, the one
Yeah.
flapping of the wing makes an impact.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that. I think women in general are very hard on
Mhm.
themselves. I'm not sure why. I wish I had some psychology on this, but in general, we feel like
Mm.
we're not clean enough, we're not, fit enough, we're not made up enough, or we're not laid back enough, or we're just we never give ourselves permission to just be enough.
Mhm.
And I think that's what when you said 1% day, I think that's kind of what like hit my not higher self, hit my heart and made me feel like, oh, that's so good because if I can make 1% enough, then then I can achieve my goals little by little, day after day, and then it becomes the 1% is the goal, which
Mhm.
it is. I mean, the habits, we want you to set good habits, we want you to set good routines, but oftentimes women really struggle with that because we feel like it's not enough and we're
Yeah.
never enough no matter how much we do. We just can't keep it all together. And I think that's my mission in life is to stop that. But it is also something that I think a lot of women just kind of struggle with in general. So I love that you gave it a name. 1% day is I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on a post.
Let's commit to it, friends. Everybody who's on here, let's commit to it. Or if you're listening to the replay, commit to being no, not being okay with
Yeah.
celebrating. Even if you have a 1% day, because and even if it's 1% on one goal and not what if you don't make progress on all your goals, but you make 1% on one goal? Celebrate that. Commit to doing that because then we become people who celebrate the little by little progress, and
Yes.
we talk a ton about little by little progress, but I don't think, like, I feel like there's this idea of, well, it's too little. No, no, no. Any little by little progress is worth celebrating because it's a step in the right direction. And this reminds me of, and I'm so bad at like remembering quotes for like exactly,
That's okay.
but there's something about like you're only a turnaround away from progress or something. Like all you have to do is turn around and you're already making progress towards something, even if you've been going in the wrong direction for however long. And so let's celebrate just that one little step.
I love that. I love that. And how you know that you're doing
Oh, I love that, a 1% year.
I love that
I
too.
love that.
I love that. I think Tori, one of my friend was saying that she's not always confident that her 1% actions are gonna get her to where she wants to go, which I think we should talk about next week because
Yeah.
we're already at our 30-minute mark. But I think that's a real concern that people have is like, is
Mhm.
this thing that I'm doing actually moving the needle? Is it actually getting me to where I want to
Mm.
go? And I think that's a really good question that we need to dig into.
I think we both have stories that we can share about that. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, some food for thought. I love quotes, but I'm not great at remembering them either. Bob Goff said, I used to be afraid of failing. I used to be afraid of failing. And he said, but now I'm way more afraid of succeeding at the things that don't matter. And
Oh,
I think that is
gives
super
me chills.
powerful, right? So a lot of us are afraid of failure in our goals, right? But we don't ever
Mhm.
succeed at them because we don't commit to them 1%. We make the plan, but we got to carry it into our life. And so I love that. But let's talk next week. I love that our Irish friends are chatting
I
about the weather.
know. Yay.
Are you guys totally frozen up there? It's really cold in America right now. Like it's super cold. I think the whole
Ugh.
entire country is like frozen.
Hey, we warmed up today.
You did?
Yes.
I think it all came our way. Florida's
Yeah, it
very
did.
cold today.
It's
Did it?
coming. The warmer weather. It's on its way.
But I like the cold.
The cold never bothered me anyway.
That's me. I am a winter lover. I
You're
love the
full
cold
on
weather.
Elsa. Braid your
Full
hair.
on. Full on. I used to actually braid my hair down the side
There you go.
when I was a teacher because the kids would listen to me more when I looked like Elsa.
'Cause you were Elsa.
Except not.
Love
Tori's
it.
is always like one of my favorite parts of the week. She's sitting on Audrey, you're sitting on a radiator. Is that safe?
Goodness. It's a popsicle here.
Oh, our Irish friends. Y'all stay warm.
Oh, friends.
Bob Goff is
Yeah.
amazing. I think that's who you're talking about, Katie. I love Bob Goff. Oh my gosh. Bob Goff is like my spirit animal. Shoveling snow nonstop. Heather,
Yeah,
where do you live?
if you guys haven't read any of Bob Goff's books, highly recommend. He's an incredible human.
Do you know he puts his actual cell phone number in his books?
No.
In the
Oh,
very back on the last page,
oh
he
my
puts his
gosh.
actual cell phone number in there, and if you are having a hard time and you need to talk to somebody, you can call him on his phone number.
He's the greatest. He's like just the oh gosh.
I know. I really
Yeah.
love Bob Goff. Oregon. Oh, our
Oregon.
director lives in Oregon. No,
Mm.
Washington.
Washington.
She said it was really cold. You haven't. Okay. All right, Tori, this is super fun as always. Love chatting with you. Next week we're going to be taking on another gritty topic. Should
I
we tell
love
them?
gritty.
No, we'll keep it secret. We'll announce on Instagram and in our Facebook group before we go live next week. Thank you all so much for being here. It was really good to see everybody. Stay warm, stay bundled up.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Tori, parting
Don't
thoughts? Are you good?
I'm good. Go
All right.
celebrate your 1%, friends. We better hear about it. Share it with us.
I love that. All right, we'll talk to you soon, friends. Bye. Great chatting with
Bye.
you too. Bye.